Hi everybody, welcome to another late night stream of mine. And as you see, we are doing U-Boat again, the submarine simulation where we dive into the role of a German submarine commander in Second World War. And yeah, what I am doing is I am doing a complete playthrough through the war in this wonderful open world simulation. So, if we look at the map at the moment, we are in the Mediterranean chasing a fast moving transport on east-southeastern course. It is nighttime, it's dark, we are on a parallel course and we are trying to overtake him. Well, we are moving with an average speed of 16 or more knots, and they are moving with something like 12 or 13 knots, which we acknowledged by frequent hydrophone checks. So we have a real interpolation of their course and a real interpolation of their speed from our regular hydrophone checks. And if you look at the big picture, we are in the Mediterranean. We are in, late December 43, which means that we are already 4 years into the war. And in real life, I am doing this campaign since more than a year, sharing each single mission, each single adventure with you, my dear friends, on Twitch. So thank you for all of you faithful watchers. And since a while I'm uploading the streams to YouTube as well. Yeah, sorry guys, I don't have the time for cutting, so I upload the whole streams. But yeah, from what I see is that there is still quite a bunch of people who enjoy. And yeah, just check into my videos. You can go fast forward and find the adventurous parts. So thanks for watching and welcome. Which U-boat? At the moment we are sailing again with the Type 7. For a few missions I switched up to the Type 9, but then I found out that at least the Type 9A is still buggy in terms of leaks. So hull breaches give you a completely unrealistically high flow rate of water, which floods your compartments in seconds. You can't do anything. Well, the Mediterranean is relatively quiet, so it's not that much of a problem. But yeah, that's why I switched back to the Type 7. I'm doing one single mod. It's the Deep Leaks mod. It's working perfectly fine, so I can well recommend everybody to use it. It's this mod which gives some realistical effects when you get down to deeper depths. So below 150 or 160 meters, there arises a certain probability that you get small little leaks. And maybe larger ones, which you have to repair. And in the vanilla game, you just have that instant crush when you come below crush depth. And this kind of successive leaks that you get the deeper you go, that's pretty fine. And you can really burn them out. So if you do a few dives to rather deep depths, you can actually find out which parts are weak points and replace them, and later you won't have trouble again during the mission. I'm not quite sure when it does reset, when you're back to port or when. So I'm playing with almost 100% difficulty level, and this is why you don't see the enemy ship on the map. All my markings I have to do manually based on the reports of the crew. By the way, we are back to the surface. It's 11:45, so let's go flank for 1 more hour, or maybe 2 hours. Let's first do it for 1 hour. We are going flank speed to catch up with this fast-moving transport. Maybe it's a tanker, maybe it's a C3. We will see. So on we go. Yeah, this is the very first time ever that I am sailing the Mediterranean in the game. Yeah, in the game, actually. Have I been... Yeah, well, I once did a boat trip from Algeciras to Morocco in the Mediterranean. I mean, we took a ferry, and the other time I took a ferry from somewhere here, Italy, to Greece, but that's quite some time ago. I think these are the 2 actual boat trips that I did in real life. So when I was still at school, I did Interrail, and at that time Morocco was part of Interrail, and so we actually, me at that point, I was just me. The other guys, they decided to do a beach holiday in Italy, and at that point I was a bit pissed off because I really wanted to do miles with Interrail, and did all the trip down to Algeciras and to Morocco. And something like 2 years later, I did another Interrail trip where we took the ferry from Italy to Greece. Yeah, nice thing to remember, by the way. But let's get back to our adventure here. 1 hour. Let's go for another hour. We are making good speed. The wind is, yeah, medium. It's 14 knots of wind speed, which is not completely calm, but also not yet a storm. And here we are, 2 hours. Now, if we assume that they are going with something like 13 knots after 2 hours, they should have traveled 26 miles. So let's do a hydrophone check if my dead reckoning is fairly correct. So hydrophone check. The crew, like usual, the off-watch crew is running to the front compartment. One of the officers opening the valves so that seawater can freely stream into our ballast tanks, and 2 crewmates are manning the depth steers. So here we are. Ballast tanks being flooded. Yeah, I think the diving process actually is a bit faster with this smaller boat, the Type 7, than it is with the large Type 9. By the way, I didn't see that we have an available point to train one of our crews. But let's do that later and see where we have that contact. Okay, that's good. They seem to be moving a bit slower than I guesstimated. So maybe they're doing 12 knots. And we are almost even up with them. They're almost abreast on starboard. Now, what if we were doing another 2 hours?
50 Meter.
Should bring us here, and if they would do another 2 hours, it would bring them roughly there. Yeah, so it's still pretty tough to catch up with such a fast-moving transport. By the way, let's give it a save. New stream, new save.
Meter.
Yeah, even if I already got the information that I wanted to have, the position of that ship with the hydrophone check, I usually still nevertheless finish the 5 minutes of hydrophone checking, just to make sure that I don't miss anything. Yeah, we already have quite a bunch of specialized people on board. Maybe I would like to have one more guy being specialized in silent running. I don't put so much into discipline at the moment, because, yeah, discipline always seems to be really not the problem. But to dive fast is important, and to be silent is important. So let's see. Whom am I gonna upgrade? Hey, look at the crew. Is it? They are all upgraded. What about you, Stefan Keller? All right. So looks like all of my guys are upgraded now. 8 and 5 is 13 and 7, 20, yeah. Let's give it a bit of acceleration. And after 5 minutes, the crew is aborting the hydrophone check, starts the engines again, and brings the boat back to the surface. Here, Mr. Schulz opening the valves. So you hear it. Compressed air is now rushing from the compressed air tanks, pressure tanks, into the ballast tanks, pushing the water out back into the sea. And with the tanks emptying, the boat is popping up like a cork. It should. And as long as we don't have any leaks, it does. We do have a bit of water in the bilge, which is completely uncritical, which is also a lovely part of the game, that you always have minor leaks and some water seeping in. Let's turn on the pump for a few minutes to get the water out. We do have quite a bit of a wave. Quite a swell by now. Let's see what the wind speed is. Yeah, 14 knots. And what is our distance now? Estimated 11 miles. So I don't think that we would even see a smoke column on the horizon, particularly not in the dark. Hey, weight loss. Good evening. Nice to have you in. How are you doing? How was your week? I hope you had a relaxed end of the week. Now, weekend is coming. Hooray. Yeah. You missed my stream yesterday, didn't you? Now 10 minutes to 2.
Herr Kaloi, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
I wonder why we don't have full-time acceleration available. That ship is still pretty far away. One hour. Yeah, let's do another hour. Hydrophone check every 2 hours is fine. I assume that they are not changing the course at the moment. My guess is that they are more moving to some of these ports here and not so much straight for Malta. One and a half hour. And 2. So, next hydrophone check.
Tauchen auf 50 Meter.
It's already approaching 4 o'clock in the morning, so we get a first, not you, I wouldn't call it the first hints of daylight, but yeah, the sky is starting to brighten a bit. Yeah, in comparison to all the past weeks since we were in the Mediterranean, this swell is relatively large, I would say. And the wind speed of 14 knots also is relatively much. So we had pretty nice and calm weather all the time since we entered the Mediterranean a few months ago.
Meter.
Let's take a look at the stars. Yeah, everything looks perfectly fine. Now,
Herr Kapitän?
let's hope that this guy is just moving on, according to my dead reckoning.
110
Yeah,
Grad.
he does.
Aktuelle Tiefe 55 Meter.
So it's gonna have taken us the whole night to overtake that guy.
50 Meter.
Two hours would bring them there.
Kurs setzen.
And what about us?
Meter.
Okay, another 2 hours and we should be in a good position to finally bear down on their course. think we could even get a bit closer, maybe like that. They wouldn't be able to recognize us
Koordinaten setzen.
on that distance. 8 miles, no, never.
Kurs setzen.
Yeah, let's do it like that. Another 2 hours of going. So weight loss, any news about your internet connection?
Anblasen. Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloi, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Yes, we are. So with the new deal, you refer to the cable deal, not to the satellite deal, right? So understood that you, at the moment, you are using the satellite connection. Yes, yep.
Torpedorohr 1 gewartet.
Yeah, that's an ugly situation because, yeah, you don't want to just invest the money on guesswork, right? When you're just guessing that it might be the problem with the modem and buying a new one, it's a bit of a gamble, right? Yeah, but you said that the Starlink connection, that it's relatively unstable, isn't it? So I mean, they still have a selling point with the fiber cable, have they? Actually, we had these guys on our doors as well, but yeah, I'm in the lucky position that we are just living for rent here, so we don't own the place. So it's not our decision and not our money right away, but our landlord actually already signed something, so we are gonna get fiber cable sooner or later. Okay, so you pay Starlink per use. Yeah, to watch movies and things, Starlink is probably perfectly fine, right? So I remember that you mentioned that if you actually do stream via Starlink, that you had problems, that it used to fluctuate and interrupt your stream. Wasn't that the problem? All right, here we are, another 2 hours. Let's check their position again
50
with
Meter.
the hydrophone check. I love the graphics. I love the external view. Okay, yep. Yeah, we had some very weird guys from Telecom on our doors a few times some time ago.
Schraubengeräusch. Peilung 140 Grad.
And well, they were not well chosen by the Telecom, I would say. I think these were externally hired by the Telecom, and they were really these typical sales guys. No idea of what they're talking about. Insolent and stupid, and you would have that instinct of just slamming the door into their face.
Aktuelle Tiefe 50 Meter. Meter.
Yeah, I'm having 50 megabits per second at the moment, and from the contract that I have, it should even be 100, but there is a problem with the connection from the basement up to my router, so I think there is quite some speed being lost on that way, because there is some weird interface.
55 Meter.
Yeah, and every interface, if it's not done professionally, it's kind of an impedance change, and you get reflection and you lose intensity, which, well, in the digital world actually is speed finally.
Jawohl.
Yeah, and still my dead reckoning of their corpse is not too bad. So what about half an hour would bring them there? What about us? Half an hour would bring us There. Yeah, nice. So, as soon as we are back to the surface, we are gonna bear down towards their course and put ourselves right in front of them. And then we're gonna dive and just wait for them to run us over.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Who is officer of the watch at the moment? All right.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Okay, the stream is relatively quiet still. Let's see. Yeah, but yeah, I'm only half an hour into the stream. So usually quite a few people pop in after an hour or something. And there we go, back to the surface.
Wenn Mutter Suppe mit Petersilie macht, zieht sie komische Grimassen. Es ist lustig anzusehen, aber es lässt mich auch mal zu Hause vermissen.
Very interesting. One of our co-sailors just told a story that his sister doesn't like parsley.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Yeah, I still want to go flank speed.
Aktuelle Tiefe.
So, Mr. Arles, it's your off-watch time, but I need you at the engines nevertheless.
Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Herr Kanoy, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Half an hour. By the way, not quite sure. Do we have any yeah, there we have smoke on the horizon, smoke on the water, and a fire in the sky maybe later. There he is. That's the guy at something like 110 degrees. Let's do a sanity check. Yeah, makes sense. Makes perfect sense. Him being roughly there.
Torpedorohr 1 gewartet.
+6. It's getting daylight.
Vor 2 gewartet.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Natürlich, Herr Kaloy.
So. Now we are 8-9 cables away from their
Alle
estimated
Maschinen
course.
stopp. Auf Seerohrtiefe.
Yeah, I'm gonna dive because we still don't know what type of ship it is. It might be a well-armed transport like a C3, but it also might be an unarmed tanker. But at the moment we don't know, so prepare for the worst. We dive and let them come in
Seerohrtiefe. Boot für uns.
while we are hidden.
Auf E-Motoren wechseln.
Torpedorohr 5 gewartet.
This is a bug which came up with the update that when you change magnification, the periscope is going back to the 0 position or some even less meaningful. 80 degrees by now. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Now they seem to be there. Now, Mr. Grade, I want you to supervise the depth steer station to make sure that we don't broach the surface and get visible. How far away? 7 miles. Okay. Let's keep the safe at that point. Yeah, it's still too far away. We just see the smoke column. It's hull down still. So no chance yet to estimate what type of ship it is. Seven miles, them going with 12 knots. So after half an hour, they should be there.
Schraubengeräusch. Kriegsschiff. Peilung 20 Grad.
Oh, man of war.
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloin?
Ooh. All right, so there is a man of war patrolling the harbor entrance. Okay, we don't have to worry about that one at the moment. you don't have to be on battle station. There they are. Still only smoke. What about the hydrophone? Okay, it says that they are there. Would have expected. Well, might make sense. Might make perfect sense. Would have expected them to be a bit closer by now. There they are. That looks relatively reliable, what we get from the hydrophone at the moment. So the angle should be something like 70 degrees. Let's see if this is consistent. See how beautifully the sun is reflecting on the deck house. So guys, what's your guess? My guess is that it is a tanker. But that's just the very first guess. On the second view, yeah, let's see. But this enormously large bridge and building in the center, to me that pretty much, yeah, it reminds me of one of these large tankers. So give it a save at that point and let's see. Hi, Aquicing, how are you doing? Great to have you in again. I hope you had a good week or good Friday. Yeah, we already had a chat yesterday. So you don't think it's a tanker? Liberty, yeah, possible. Let's check that. Hey, where do we have the Liberty? That one. My gut feeling is still more with the tanker. But yeah, maybe you're right. Let's see when it comes closer. Let me give a guess. That one. But no, the smoke is coming from the center, right? So probably not that one. Not that one. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. I just cannot yet see the two masts on the forepart of the ship. You would still say, all right, hey Colin, great to have you in, good evening. You would still guess it to be a C3. My feeling is that it doesn't have sufficient mass for a C3. but maybe not quite clear from this perspective yet. We will know soon, yeah. You're right. I was hoping for a tanker. Here it says that the maximum speed of a Liberty is 11, and I think this guy was going 12. This goes to 11. Yeah, let's just wait it out. We're not in a hurry.
Torpedorohr 1 gewartet.
By the way, Mr. Scholz, please. Yeah, he is already at the torpedo calculator. Very good. Oh yeah, well, Colin. Probably you are right. That looks pretty C3-ish. Now, what's the situation with the torpedoes? Let's do maintenance on tube 2. Mr. Schneider, please. And Mr. Ahlers, you could also do some maintenance on tube 3 then, if it is available. Nope, it's not. Yeah, you were quite right. It's a C3, right? Yeah. Pretty sure. Now, velocity was 12. Angle on bow at the moment. 55 degrees is the heading. Something like that. 55. So, the angle on bow would be 30, 31. Something like that. And now let's give it a guess about the distance. Two miles. It says, is it realistic from the map situation? It should be a bit closer already. Yeah, but it looks like they're not going max speed. So I did all the... yeah, that was 2 hours. He was going 24 miles in 2 hours. So I did a lot of these checks, so it looks pretty much like he's doing something like 12 knots. Coming in. So this is gonna be a torpedo attack. I would not attack that guy on the surface because he would start shooting at me with barrages of deck gun. So that's the funny thing, that this late in the war, the merchantmen were partly much better armed with deck guns than a submarine.
Kleine Fahrt voraus.
He would, yeah, 100% agree, Colin. We would have no chance.
Torpedorohr 3 gewartet.
45. Would be an angle on bow of 45 actually. 41. Okay, this looks relatively consistent. Torpedo maintenance. Alright, I think we can go with these. Torpedo 1, tube 1, 2, 3 is fine. I think I'm gonna go firing 3 torpedoes to be on the safe side like I used to.
Schussunterlagen aktualisieren. Entfernung 2, 5, 6, 3 Meter. Gegnerlage 4, 6 links.
1.5 miles it is now. Maybe it's a bit further away than my guess of his course is. So the angle on bow should be something like 47.
Aktualisieren. Entfernung zum Ziel 2, 0, 1,
Yeah,
2
let's
Meter.
speed up a bit.
Lage 5, 0, Bug links.
Let's speed up a bit. So would be something like 55. That looks good.
Schussunterlagen aktualisieren.
Yeah, now we have a distance of
3
about
Meter.
a mile.
Winkel 5, 7 links.
20 something degrees. Angle on bow of something like 60 something. Yeah, well. Something like that. Distance. So now the distance wouldn't change too much anymore.
Aktualisieren. Entfernung 1, 2, 5, 8 Meter. Aktualisieren. Entfernung zum Ziel 1, 2, 0, 9 Meter. Gegnerlage 7, 0 links.
$77. Okay, I think we can go with that.
Rohr 1 bewässern.
Rohr 1 bewässert.
Depth 7.3. I'm too slow. 7.5. Let's give that one.
Rohr 2 bewässern. Los. Rohr 3 bewässern. Los. Ja. 40 Sekunden. Der Torpedo ist auf halbem Weg. 40 Sekunden.
This one is gonna be a miss. This one is gonna be a miss, and there is another one who's gonna be a miss as well. Oh shit. 2 misses. 2 misses.
20 Sekunden.
What about you, guy? Are you gonna be a hit? Please. Please.
Fehlschuss. 20 Sekunden.
Oh oh no. Come on.
10 Sekunden bis Einschlag. Kurs setzen. Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen. Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Rohr 1 genau.
Shit. 3 misses.
letzte Kraft zurück.
Let's see if we can do something with the stern torpedo. I hate to let this guy go. I don't know, maybe I did just misjudge there. Speed a bit.
Aktualisieren. Entfernung zum Ziel. 1, 2, 8 Meter.
Now give it a stern torpedo.
Rohr 5 bewässern.
Rohr 5 bewässert.
Los! Ja.
Hey, Captain Jimbo. Nice to have you in. So, how are you doing? How is your foxhole going on? So I just fucked it up. I fired 3 torpedoes and they were all going to miss just in front of the bow of that ship, and now I'm firing a final a stern torpedo, one of my sound seekers, on the distance to see if I can track him down like that.
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloy? Jawohl, Herr Kapitän.
Der Torpedo ist auf halbem Weg. Ja.
Yeah, he should home in on that ship, but I still fear that the firepower is not sufficient. Yeah, thank you very much for the raid. That's great to have you in. So he is homing in, but usually the damage that these torpedoes do when they home in on the stern, on the propeller, is pretty, relatively limited. Yeah, of course, that's ugly. That's ugly. I actually did fire 3 torpedoes on purpose with a certain spread, and still all of them went amiss. Yeah, minimal damage, great. it's loading, and it still takes time to load. Yeah, come on, minimal damage.
Funktelegramm gesendet.
Yes. Yeah, the propeller's still working, yeah. So that's always the case when you do these.
Funkspruch erhalten.
Rohr 5 geladen.
Sound seekers. That's always the problem. Shall we give it another one?
Rohr 5 bewässern.
Shall we give it another one?
Rohr 5 bewässert.
Come on.
Los! Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Yes, actually I did change yesterday. I did change back to the Type 7, yeah. Yeah, right. I mean, it can't be that you hit the propeller and it's still running. That's not quite realistic.
Ja.
Rohr 3 geladen.
Let's see what this second hit would do to them.
Torpedo ist auf halbem Weg.
Yeah, let's hope it's gonna be a hit.
Sekunden bis Torpedo einschlagen. 30 Sekunden.
Yeah, they are doing zigzag, wobbling the course. Yeah, it's heavily armed, so we can't get to the surface and track them down with the deck gun. They would actually sink us, not the other way around. They should at least lose speed. It's a hit. And again, minimal damage. Come on. Hey, look at that. The propeller is still running. Yeah, they have these guns there. They really would give us a hard time if we would get to the surface.
Kurs setzen.
So what we can do now is get out of range, out of vision range, get back to the surface and try to intercept them once more. Give it one more try. Or should we reload? What do you guys think? Should I reload and slightly correct the torpedo angle and sink it? Or should I do the maximum immersion and keep that loss and just continue and try it a second time? What do you think, guys? Yeah, but the question is, I could reload and sink it, or I could continue the stream and sink it. So do the maximum immersion and just carry on without reloading. Try a second approach, or go back and load the game when I was just before firing the torpedoes and correcting it slightly.
Torpedo
Yep.
freigewarnt.
Weight loss, yeah. Let's do the maximum immersion, yep. Yeah, so I think we are at the same wavelength, yeah. Question is how fast they are going now. So do we get some decent signal on the hydrophone? Nope. Not really. No hydrophone signal at all. Yeah, they should at least be going slower. They should at least be going slower, shouldn't they? And there we are,
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen. Anblasen.
back to the surface.
Tiefe 10 Meter.
Okay. So we have them there.
Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloi, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Kurs setzen.
Now, if they were still going with 12 knots. After 1 hour, they would be here, and us, after 1 hour, we would be there. So let's hope that we at least slowed them down a bit with these hits. Otherwise, that would be rather unrealistic if they would still continue going on with 12 knots. So time is 8:10. Let's go for 1 hour. They spot us. Would they spot us here? Not quite sure. They might.
Torpedorohr 1 gewartet. Torpedorohr 2 gewartet. Torpedorohr 3 gewartet.
Distance 5 miles. Let's hope that they don't spot us like that.
Torpedorohr 4 gewartet.
So allow me to be AFK for 1 minute at that point. So you have the con. Alright, so here I am back again. Okay. Commander is on the bridge again. I'm taking the con. Do you think that they spotted us on that distance? I think they don't. So let's keep on going until, what was it, 10 past? Something. Okay, we get some autosave.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
There they are. So maybe they are actually going with reduced speed. Shall we do a hydrophone check? I don't know. Would they repair? Would they repair damages and pick up speed again? What do you think? Yeah, come on, let's be on the safe side and give it one hydrophone check so that for the next attack we have as precise as possible data.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Aktuelle Tiefe 5 Meter.
Auf E-Motoren wechseln.
Oh, we do have quite a bit of water. Yeah, we have been traveling underwater for a while, so also at maximum speed, so we have probably had quite a bit of water seeping in along the drive shaft.
Schraubengeräusch. Handelsschiff. Peilung 115 Grad.
40 Meter.
Yeah, that would be realistic, that they would have to stop to conduct repairs, but yeah, not quite sure how realistic this is. Kind of pictured in this simulation.
50 Meter. Handelsschiff. 115 Grad.
Meter.
Herr Kapitän. 50 Meter.
Come on. This pretty much looks like they're still moving with 12 knots. Hey guys, you're not serious, are you? I hit them twice in the propeller.
55 Meter.
Torpedorohr 3 gewartet.
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
Torpedorohr 4 gewartet.
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloin?
Anblasen.
35 Meter.
Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloy, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Kurs setzen.
Yeah, weight loss. This is exactly what I observed just before. That they are changing the depth. Yep. And that definitely reduces the damage. 100% correct. So it would be nice if it would just stay at the depth that you say. That was actually why I reduced or increased the depth a bit, in the hope that it might go underneath the propeller and explode somewhere underneath the hull, the keel. Yep. So the T5 definitely has disadvantages. It is pretty advantageous when there is a man of war on your tail, and you would fire it and it would be hit just in front, and then you usually sink them with just one hit. But for the merchantman, they somehow just don't work. Yeah, yeah. Is this a mod? So I wouldn't like to click on the link during the streaming, but what is that one? Is it a mod? This one? This link that you stated? So which one is it? I'm a bit hesitant to just install mods. Realistic T5 torpedoes. Oh, that sounds good. Is it updated to the actual version? So lately I had some bad experience. Yeah, that would be great if they would just keep their depth. And that was beautifully to be seen. Just with the two T5s that I fired before, that they actually left their program depth just before impact and came closer to the surface. Yeah, okay, that sounds good. That sounds good, because at the moment I don't like the algorithm of the T5s.
Torpedorohr 1 gewartet. Torpedorohr 2 gewartet.
Herr Kaloin, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Tauchen auf 50 Meter.
Yes, yeah, that's also a point which is a bit disadvantage in the vanilla game about the T5. Yeah.
Aktuelle Tiefe 5 Meter.
Auf E-Motoren wechseln.
Schraubengeräusch. Handelsschiff. Peilung 120 Grad.
50 Meter.
Yeah, it looks like I hit them twice in the propeller and they are still moving with their maximum speed. That's just ridiculous.
Kurs setzen.
I love the game and I love the
50 Meter.
guys who did the game. But yeah, that's not nice. Can't be that I hit these guys twice in the stern and they're still going with 12 knots like they did before. Not realistic.
...55 Meter. Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
So let's give it a second try, guys.
Anblasen. Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloin, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Yeah, yeah.
Torpedorohr 1 gewartet. Torpedorohr 2 gewartet. Torpedorohr 4 gewartet.
Yeah, I'm pretty careful and conservative about mods.
Herr Kaloin, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen. Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen. Alle Maschinen, stopp!
Yeah, let's load our batteries a bit at that point. Yeah, that's what I think. You just have to load an earlier save where you haven't installed the mod yet. Yep. Okay, I have to admit, I didn't really check it, but do you remember that Wales mod that I had? And I think after I uninstalled it, it was still fucking up the game a bit. I wouldn't bet my farm on it, but I think it was. My farm that I definitely don't have. There they are.
Handelsschiff. 80 Grad.
Yeah, maybe I should dive now. So.
Alle Maschinen, stopp. Vorfluten. Auf Seerohrtiefe.
Yeah, okay, yeah, so we are 100% in phase. That was exactly what I meant. Yep. Yeah, for that mod, it took me one or two. Yeah, I had a few saves, and only then I recognized that the mod was not working well. So I had to go back to an earlier save. Yep.
Wechseln.
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
Come on, that can't be true.
Meter.
Please tell me that this is a fake position. Yeah, looks like it's real.
Torpedorohr 4 gewartet.
Kleine Fahrt, voraus. Alarm! Auf Gefechtsstation!
Alle an eure
Alarm
Ausbildung.
beendet.
Bleibt ruhig und konzentriert.
No, you don't have to go to battle stations.
Aktuelle Tiefe. 5 Meter.
2, 3.
Jawohl, ich kümmere mich darum.
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
Yeah, that looks more realistic. I think it's still going with 12 knots. Well, at least we are having a good chase, I would say.
Jawohl.
$55 degrees. $35 angle on bow. Yeah, I'm never good at the speed check. So how would it work? Like now. Started. I always had the gut feeling that this measurement never yielded any decent result. I don't trust that. It's moving faster than 8 knots. Yeah, okay. So now it was telling me that it is moving with 8 knots. 45 degrees roughly. Three. Yeah. That makes sense, yep.
Aktualisieren. Entfernung zum Ziel. 2, 1, 1, 8 Meter. Winkel. 4, 9, Bug, links. Gegnerfahrt. 8 Knoten.
Yeah, I have wasted 3 torpedoes, 4, 5 torpedoes by now. Going for that guy. What do you mean with this point is not personal? Of course, I'm not taking that personal. Always glad to have hints. It still says 8 knots, hey. But from the other figures, they were not going 8 knots. $25. I have to. Oh God, don't put that much pressure on me. I'm gonna break. 20 degrees. $68 to $70. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. And one more velocity thing. Yes, only under pressure diamonds are formed. Very good, yep. You know that joke about a guy? So he has a job interview and then they ask him, how do you perform under pressure? And his answer is, yeah, well, it's okay, but I can better do the bicycle song. Yeah, right, yeah. Oh, come on. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Here I am now. What's the distance? Give me a guess of the distance, please.
Aktualisieren. Entfernung zum Ziel. 1, 0, 3, 9 Meter. Winkel. 9, 2, links. Geschwindigkeit. 8 Knoten.
Depth.
Rohr 1 bewässern.
5. 7.5, that's fine. And
Los. Rohr 2 bewässern.
Oh shit, it's already out of optimum fire. Ah, fuck.
40 Sekunden.
There.
Torpedoeinschlag.
Yeah, synchronizing. Guys,
Visualisieren.
gimme,
Winkel. 117.
please.
30 Sekunden.
Shit. Now I
Geschwindigkeit. 8
pretty much
Knoten.
looks like I fucked it up
Los.
once more.
20 Sekunden. Rohr 3. Bewässern. 10 Sekunden bis Einschlag. Los.
Alright, so that was pretty unprofessional, I would say. Oh, they already missed this one. Oh fuck, that was a far miss. Ah, come on. If I'm gonna fuck that up again, I'm gonna reload. If this one is gonna miss, the other one is gonna miss as well. Ah, come on, fingers crossed that this one is gonna be a hit. Oh, that's gonna be a tight one. That's gonna be a tight one. Oh no, it's gonna be a miss. And if this one is gonna... hey, come on. I'm really running out of patience. I'm gonna reload that. Fuck it. Fuck it. Sorry guys for the strong language, but... Oh man, so I'm very sorry, but I'm gonna reload. I'm gonna reload that one. I can't bear fucking it up that that much again. Sorry guys. Yeah, aqua icing. I never got familiar with the speed checks. I really don't think that the speed checks make any sense. Yeah, okay, so I usually don't want to curse that much while I'm online, but yeah. So again. And at that point, allow me to save for a second. I have to be AFK for a very human need. I'll be back in 1 minute. Yeah, I think that speed reading that I took was completely wrong. Yeah, let's see. I think first thing is that they're not moving with 8 knots. They're moving with something like 12 knots. Distance at the moment.
Schussunterlagen aktualisieren. Entfernung
30 degrees.
Meter. Lage 5,9 links. Gegnerfahrt 1,2 Knoten.
$58. Angle on bow would be something like 58.
Gegnerlage 6,1 links.
Yeah, I don't like that salvo option. I never got acquainted to it pretty well, so I prefer to fire one single each. So let's try it once more. Fingers crossed that I do it better this time.
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
Rohr 1 bewässern. Rohr 1 bewässert. Schussunterlagen aktualisieren. Gegnerlage 9,5 links. Gegnerfahrt 1,2 Knoten. Schussunterlagen aktualisieren. Entfernung zum Ziel 1,064 Meter.
Come on now, give me the solution, please. Guy, give me the solution. Hey. Why don't I get the synchronization? Please. Give me that one. Oh.
Los! Rohr 2 bewässern.
Rohr 2 bewässern.
Los! Rohr 3 bewässern.
Come on, fingers crossed that we do better now.
Ja.
Would be pretty embarrassing. Usually I'm pretty good in this. So I'm a bit embarrassed that I'm doing so bad about it at the moment. Yes, I used to, just to be on the safe side. Yeah, weight loss, you're right. I always do it like that.
Der Torpedo ist auf halbem Weg. 30 Sekunden. 40 Sekunden. Das Torpedo.
Yeah,
Der Torpedo ist auf halbem Weg.
this one is gonna be a miss.
Ja.
What about the second one?
40 Sekunden bis Torpedo einschlagen. 10 Sekunden bis Einschlag. 20 Sekunden. 30 Sekunden.
Come on. Yeah. Serious damage. And what about the second one?
Feindliches Schiff getroffen.
Yes.
Deck.
We hit him twice, so that should sink him. So this is why I do 3 torpedoes. So at least one of them should hit. So I think that this is gonna finish him off. That was a bit of a pain in the ass to actually sink that guy. Let's hope that we get some decent tonnage.
Halbe Fahrt. Voraus.
Yes, there they are going down. I think we got them.
Die Besatzung evakuiert das Schiff. Anblasen.
Okay, so that was finally. How many torpedoes did we use? It was 6, 7, 8 torpedoes, which we fired on that guy until we got him down. That's pretty inefficient. I think we did better earlier.
Herr Kalon, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Roast marshmallows, yeah. We could do that there. Yes, finally we got the guy.
Kampfmaschinen stopp.
Lifeboat 2. Lifeboat 3. Okay, these two guys. We're gonna get them on board. And lifeboat 4. Alright. So, yeah, let's give them some supplies to increase our reputation. Lifeboat 1. Some fish. Lifeboat 2. Some cheese. Lifeboat 3. More fish for them. And lifeboat 4. Yeah, he's gonna be very comfortable. Just one guy in that lifeboat and he just gets the same amount of rations. Let's get the dried fish on board. Yeah, okay, maybe I have to check that about the salvo. Yep.
Ja.
Funktelegramm gesendet. Ja?
Yeah, let's get the cargo from the deck into our stores. There, our bosun is coming in. And
Bestätigen. Jawohl, Herr Kaloi.
Rohr 1 geladen.
some preserved pork. Let's retrieve it as well. Yeah, I have to check that. Never dived into that. How to do the salvo attack, yep.
Halbe Fahrt voraus.
Yeah, okay, that gave us a bit of tonnage, but not for the mission, only for the overall Battle of the Mediterranean. For the mission, we would have to reach the mission area first before we would get that accounted for the mission. But yeah, well, finally we need tonnage for the overall sub-campaign. Yeah, I should maybe also take a look at that one about the speed check with the stopwatch. But I never, up to now, I never got any decent results from this stopwatch check. What I have reliably is from this interpolation from the hydrophone checks, but never from the stopwatch, to be honest.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Herr Kapitän.
Torpedo 1 gewartet.
Now let's carry on to our mission area. Let's give it a save.
Rohr 2 geladen.
Very good. So we could get some torpedoes from the deck stores, but I think I'm going to do that at night. Yeah, actually that last action confirmed me in that in the past I never trusted on these stopwatch speeds that you get. Finally, I was much better off with the speed that I extrapolated from the hydrophone checks. Okay, let's give it another hydrophone check.
Wird erledigt, Herr Kaloi. Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Wird erledigt, Herr Kaloi.
Tauchen auf.
Here we go.
Meter. Aktuelle Tiefe 5 Meter. Auf E-Motoren wechseln.
Meter. Torpedorohr 4 gewartet.
Aktuelle Tiefe 45 Meter.
So let's see, any contacts in the range?
Meter.
By the way, it's the 23rd of December, so we are approaching Christmas in the game.
Herr Kaloi?
55 Meter.
All right, looks like There is no contact in the 90 miles range. Quite a bit of water.
Lenzpumpe einschalten.
Aktuelle Tiefe 50 Meter.
Yeah, this having the pump on should reduce the range because it gives some background noise to the hydrophone.
Nordengeräusch. 50 Grad.
What do we have there?
Herr Kaloi?
It might also be a fisherman, but let's go for it and check it.
Herr Kaloi?
Kurs setzen.
Bestätige.
Anblasen.
Aktuelle Tiefe 40 Meter.
Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloi, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Yeah, let's see that we follow that contact. So if it would be some ordinary merchant, it would move with something like 8 knots. What about us? When we are going flank, we would be moving with something like 60 knots. Let's go flank
Äußerste Kraft voraus.
and chase that guy down. 1 hour, 6:15. Let's go for 7:15. All right, half an hour. One hour, and let's give it another hydrophone check to get a second data point. Which direction is this guy heading for? And down we go for the hydrophone check.
Aktuelle Tiefe 5 Meter. E-Motorenwechsel.
Now fingers crossed that this guy is not just a fisherman.
20 Meter.
If it were a fisherman, it would be moving with just something like 5 or 6 knots. If it were a decent transport, it would be going with at least 8 knots.
Peilung,
Alright, there they are. Let's see.
45 Meter. Ja,
Okay, that looks good. That pretty much looks like that we have a decent merchantman there and not just a fisherman.
50 Meter. Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Okay, another promising contact. Okay, we got that contact confirmed. That's good.
Schraubengeräusch. Peilung 85 Grad.
More. Do we have more contacts? So there is this guy, and there is another guy there, which is a new contact, single O2. So it's always worthwhile to finish the listening. Yeah, well, let's see that we track down this guy where we already have proved that it is moving with 8 knots. So this is pretty sure not a fisherman, and the other one we will see later. torpedoes in the tubes. And how many torpedoes do we have in the outside storage? Another 2, alright. And there is no stern outside storage. Yeah, alright.
Weißt du, ich hatte eine Freundin zu Hause. Wir haben Stunden damit verbracht, entlang des Flusses zu spazieren, miteinander geredet und die Gesellschaft genossen. Ich frage mich, was sie jetzt macht.
Ja?
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen. Anblasen. Aktuelle Tiefe 45 Meter. Meter.
Alright, we're getting back to the surface. And at that point, yeah, it's getting late around here. It's 2:30 in the morning, after midnight. And so, I think I'm gonna call it a day. I'm definitely gonna do another stream. So this is Friday night stream. So I'm gonna also do a Saturday night stream. And looking forward to see you back then. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining. And yes, see you tomorrow maybe. Aqua icing, yep. Good night for you as well. Although you are something like 6 hours earlier, I think. So if we have something like 2:30 around here, it's, what would it be, 8:30 at your place? Yeah, weight loss, we have the same problem. It's time to sleep. Yeah, Colin, almost the same. I think, do we have 1 hour of time difference to Scotland? So it's late. Time to go to bed for all of us. Have a good night, Colin. Aqua icing, weight loss. And I think, yeah, Captain Jimbo, thank you very much for coming in. Thanks for the raid. That was great. And so Volvolu, I'm not quite sure, I'm just checking. So it looks like we were missing Volvolu this night. Yeah, however, maybe he's gonna be back in tomorrow. And H Sweet, yeah, hope I pronounce it correctly. Thank you very much. Thanks for the follow. That's very much appreciated. Yeah, thank you. So always curious about, well, roughly where you're from or what your experience with the game is. But yeah, maybe you're going to drop in later, maybe tomorrow. So we might have a chat then. So yeah, thanks a lot and see you tomorrow night. Hopefully. Bye bye, guys.